Beautiful day, my budget bashers, because over the weekend, LSS dropped news that really should have shook the whole internet, but it actually fell kind of flat. So I wanted to just make a video real quick to get more eyes on this thing and discuss Project Blue. Now, on Sunday, an event was hosted by card merchant West City that included the announcement for both Legend Story Labs and Project Blue, almost like out of nowhere. Now, Legend Story Labs would be hosting its first event open to these alpha testers, aka the boots on the ground players in New Zealand, with an exclusive Sync Below 4 participating as well. Now, the link to the Legend Story Labs page explained their mission statement a bit more clearly in these words. Legend Story Labs exists to uncover exciting new possibilities and innovate approaches across all aspects of the player experience. Based in Aotearoa, Legend Story Labs serves as our starting point, where concepts are tested, refined, and shaped before they reach a wider audience. This foundation allows us to work quietly, experimenting with what could change everything. What's being developed here is just the beginning. The future of gaming is being written now. The link then directs you to this official Discord server where you'll be assigned a role, either alpha or beta, based on your region, and you can even start chatting with the community or ping Brian Gottlieb directly just to get things started. So Project Blue is the first in the pipeline for these alpha testers, these players actually in New Zealand who can hands-on play these events and give feedback to Legend Story Labs. That doesn't mean we can't just go ahead and get pretty excited, because we will be in the beta testing phase, which is upcoming. Now, there's always been this chatter about Blitz not being exactly what people want out of a 20 life format. There's just not enough game to be played there. The games are too high power, and then Commoners lacking all this flavor where the games feel very samey. And James White himself even commented on this at the recent Q&A in London by saying just how aware they are of Blitz just not being the right way to play a 20 life format. If you look at it as this entry level as well, Blitz decks don't really cost any different than a deck in Classic Constructed, and I feel like LSS has slowly started to acknowledge that as well by branding Armory decks as being this entry point over how they used to push Blitz decks. So all that being said, change was coming at some point, and here it is in Project Blue. So now what we've got is a powering up of Commoner and a powering down of Blitz, where we are restricted to commons and rares, which includes the rarity of the young heroes themselves, with a 55 cards in deck total, but you must only present 40 cards at game start, with of course deck building being limited to 2 copies. Now, the build restrictions landed pretty close to the acclaimed fan format Clash, but where that format kind of struggled was instating healthy bans, because it was wholly unofficial. But now with something coming from the mothership, a tight ban list has launched with Project Blue as well, and this one is quite spicy. Some notable cards include basically anything that is consistently 4 rate or above, these staples of the game that we've come to love, like Sync Below, Fate Foreseen, even Count Your Blessings, and Snapdragon Scaler. So the full list of all the bans will be in the description below, along with the other Project Blue links for you. From this launch with so many targeted bans and obviously the build restrictions, we get this sense that we're getting a format that just deeply improves upon the Commoner experience and is toning down the ability for these exhilarating Blitz games to just end in 2 turns. Cost as well is kind of crazy, because now you're building decks that are truly entry level, with most decks costing maybe $20 and on-the-shelf products already in First Strike that actually support this format. Now look, I truly love this announcement because honestly, I don't really get to play at the professional level anymore with the streaming contract and all that, but I love to have fun with the game, and endlessly playing Levia is absolutely tilting. So these opportunities to play other formats has always been very exciting to me. And apart from limited, alternate build restrictions, things like Clash, trying to dip my toes into LL, were always quite fun, and a lot of that helped the launch of Budget Bash finally become a thing last week, where trying to power down the format, add these budget restrictions so that we can just play more games of Flesh and Blood and not break the bank. Let me tell you, Project Blue absolutely saves the concept behind that gameplay series, so you can bet we are going to be adding Project Blue to the rotation. If you've got any ideas of what decks you want to see, please leave a comment below and we will get to recording those games and pumping out those suckers, because truly I am so excited about this format. I really don't see a reason for it to fail at the moment, and I would encourage you to be an advocate for it and really make your voice heard so that LSS knows this is something we want to potentially fast track into being an officially supported format. I know I would love to play this at armories and help use it as a tool to get people playing a version of Flesh and Blood that really rewards the throes of when you fight for these windows and they finally open up and you get to execute your games based on decisions you make, not just cards you draw. So with that, I hope I've made you at least a little bit more excited. I think the news drop was a little bit too low-key for just how exciting this really is for the future of Flesh and Blood. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.